All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome. I know this is my first event after the pandemic, so it's a big event. I'm enjoying myself. Hopefully, you guys are too. Uh, so, before I get into the meat of the presentation, I was thinking that, okay, is it possible for us to predict how many people come into this Lightning Theater depending on time of day and so on? Right, I was there in the previous presentation sitting over there. There were about 15 or so. Now about, I count about 8 or 10 minus my own colleagues and so on. So you can try to do this, but for prediction, you need observations, you need data. I mean, any data engineers here? Anybody? Okay, you're. So you would probably know that, for you to predict anything, you need data and lots of observations over time. And you need a good database engine to save them and analyze them and run some machine learning algorithms and do some prediction. So this is about time, next-gen databases for next-gen workloads. I am Balaji, VP Product Marketing at InfluxData. I've been here 4+ years. I have spent my entire career on monitoring metrics, and now last 4 years I've been in InfluxDB launching our cloud. So let's begin. So what is InfluxDB? We have a lot of customers who are building real-time applications on top of InfluxDB as a database. That's the backend. They're building an IoT. They're building internal monitoring applications. They're building, crypto fintech applications, mobile applications, web applications and things like that. InfluxDB, you can think about it as an transaction processing as well as analytical database. You probably have used InfluxDB without even knowing it. For example, Tesla Powerwall. It's actually a battery technology. It's a battery equipment. It can save energy from the solar panels. And it has a beautiful app. For those of you who have used it, that beautiful app can show you to the minute, to the second, hey, when is power being generated, how much power is being saved to the battery pack, and you can also see historical data and so on. It uses InfluxDB in the backend. Nest needs no introduction. Every home has Nest these days. They are using InfluxDB for their internal monitoring. They have a huge infrastructure that runs their Nest thermostats. Also, I think they give some kind of energy leaves if you do participate in some programs. All of these are available, and they monitor that infrastructure with InfluxDB as a backend. That's a good series. I've always loved that series, Mandalorian. So Disney Plus is, again, another one of the major streaming providers. They also use InfluxDB as an internal monitoring app for internal monitoring database. Rappi is like Grubhub, but they operate mainly in South America. They are one of the largest kind of delivery infrastructure providers in South America. So what's all this? These are all big, large customers, but we have thousands of smaller customers who are using InfluxDB to store time series data. So what is time series data, right? Time series data are, you can say, data points that change over time. There are events, there are changes of state. You're monitoring an application, that state changes happen. And it could be regular time series. I mean, data could be coming in at regular intervals or irregular intervals, and you can save it in Influx. It could be from many different sources. It could be in IoT devices. It could be servers, networks, applications. I remember we have a customer who launched satellites, and thousands of components generating data. They actually use InfluxDB to store that and also process it in cloud. Data could be coming in from physical locations. I mean, I talked about satellite. There are other examples. Like we have one of the largest farming companies who have many different plants, and then they measure soil temperature, pH, and all those things at a large scale from physical devices or something like that. Or you can also have virtual. I mean, we talk about servers, metrics, I mean, servers, networks, Kubernetes infrastructure, all of those. I mean, those are virtual, physical. You can actually build applications getting data from both worlds. So what are we seeing? I mean, this is no news and not saying something different. There's massive explosion of data. I read somewhere that we have close to the volume of data is expanding or exploding about 2 times every 2 to 3 years. So it's in zettabytes right now. Within a year or two, it could be 2 zettabytes or 4, and so on, exponential. I mean, if you want to derive the next Moore's law, this will be it. So you need applications. You need a leg up over a competition. There used to be times when it used to be like you need a leg up, but right now I would say it's a game of inches. It's a game of millimeters. It's about optimizing your operations. It's about grabbing and getting data in real time, analyzing them, and then basically either detecting anomalies or doing predictive maintenance or really alerting so that you can take action in time. Time series as a category has been the fastest growing, but I think we have to ask ourselves why time series? Why can't you just take your data and stick it in a relational data store with time as a column? Why do you need a time series database? I think it's about scale. If it's simply think about it, like if you have 1,000 devices, 100 measurements per device, collecting every 10 seconds or so, you're talking 1 billion data points in at least, not a billion, close to 1 million data points in 24 hours. If you have close to 1 million data points in 24 hours, you need data that comes in at high volume, ingest, and you want to be queried. You want the same data to be queried. So you have to have writes and reads that don't lock over each other. So you can't use a relational database for really storing your time series data. Then the question arises about aging of data. Because you care about near-term data, most importantly, you need to store data in such a way that, after some time, I want to drop the data or archive this data in an S3 or other location so that you can lower your storage costs. But all of these things you'd have to build on top of your relational data store if you want to use it. But Influx and time series, it's purpose-built for that. So if you have an application which generates a lot of time series data, Influx could be one of the tools in your toolbox. We have time series in every application. I mean, we have many, many customers in each of these industries, and then these are some of the use cases that we have worked with customers. I remember we have an energy solution back in Europe. They actually do supply and demand aggregation. If there's excess supply, they will store that energy in battery packs. But all of those data they have to collect and transform in real time and analyze the demand in real time. So they do all of this within InfluxDB. Another example of a crypto or fintech would be one of the largest trading platforms is built on InfluxDB. They use InfluxDB as a backend, and their mobile applications directly talk to InfluxDB using APIs. So you as a developer, you can ask, hey, so I want to build my own thing. I want to build scalable applications. What do I do? You can use Influx. We are available in 3 flavors. InfluxDB is available as an open source. InfluxDB is available as a cloud. InfluxDB cloud is basically, we manage it for you. We also have a commercial version, which is enterprise, which is on-prem, which offers clustering, which offers RBAC, and other advantages over open source as well. So what is InfluxDB? There are 3 things about InfluxDB you should know. We are an API and toolset. So if you build InfluxDB with, let's say, open source, for example, use the same API, connect to cloud, it'll work. It's API compatible with cloud, enterprise, as well as open source. We are also releasing tool sets surrounding it. You can build it using your language of choice. It could be Python, JavaScript, or what have you, and you can do that. Second thing is time series engine. In the next version, which is coming pretty shortly in January, we are calling it Project IOX. We are building a storage engine that we have been building for the past 2 years. It's written Rust, and it has an in-memory data store which uses Apache Fusion as a data format. So all of the components talk to each other using Apache Fusion, and then it persists data to object store using Apache Parquet, so that you can also use other tools to work on the Parquet files and so on. The other thing about IOX that will launch in cloud in January next year, basically it'll have no cardinality issues. Basically, right now with time series, you could end up with high cardinality, and with the IOX that we are releasing shortly, there will be no cardinality limits. You can also use SQL language to query your data and run your data. So it's really high performance. Third thing, we can't be here without community. As you've seen, our open source, we have a massive community behind that. We have Slack channels where we interact on a daily basis. We have developer relation engineers who are working with community, building their applications, their evaluations, and so on. So as I mentioned this, I think we are on cloud, AWS, GCP, and Azure. We are also the language of choice that you can use. One last thing, if you are a customer, if you have a use case where you have retail stores, or perhaps you have connected vehicles, you have edge scenarios, you can use Influx at the edge, store high-fidelity data at the edge, and then using Influx's edge data replication, you can replicate summarized data into cloud, or you can replicate the raw data into cloud, depending on your use case. And this helps you with not only like edge-based kind of intelligent smart devices, you can also do a hybrid scenario where edge devices are intelligent. You can also have a centralized cloud place. So in summary, if you want to get started today, visit influxdata.com. Click on Get InfluxDB. As I mentioned, there are 3 flavors: open source, cloud, and enterprise. You can also sign up for InfluxData using cloud marketplaces. There's tons of content available. We have an InfluxDB University where we offer classes free of cost, of course, on everything. How you would use Influx, how to write SQL queries, how to write Flux queries, and so on. Last but not least, come chat at this booth, say hi, collect some swags. We are available in the data and analytics area and AWS Marketplace. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Let's have a nice round of applause for Balaji Pilani from InfluxData. Thank you, Balaji. And by the way,